Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen. I'm so glad that you stopped by my channel today. So I'm in my kitchen and today we're going to do a video of taking things from the garden all the way into the house to preserve it. So I'm gonna be using my freeze dryer and I thought I would take you along with me. We're gonna be freeze drying cilantro and I'm so excited. So if you've been following me, you know that I recently got a freeze dryer. I think, let's see, probably we got it in February. And so we've had it for about 2 or 3 months. We've only used it one time. I took you along on that video. We did strawberries, mango, and cranberries. And the mangoes were the star of that freeze drying episode for sure. Like, I wish I could get me some mangoes in bulk or lived in Florida so I could just do me 5 trays of mangoes. But today we're gonna do cilantro. So if you're brand new here, thank you for stopping by my channel. My name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B. And on this channel, we do a lot. Mostly our content is around gardening, but we also do preserving and bringing things in from the garden to the house to cook from scratch, and other homesteading type stuff. So we preserve. I've shown you dehydration. I've shown you how to can, both water boiling and pressure canning. And now we're venturing off into the deep end, into the freeze drying. So this is only my second time using it. I'm really excited because I have heard that herbs are one of the #1 things to freeze dry that you will love. Now I have tried dehydrating herbs. I was not a fan. It lost its color, the flavor to me wasn't there, but I've heard that freeze drying is the way to go. So we harvested a whole bunch of cilantro a few days ago. I came in the house, I washed it, and I have it in my refrigerator. So we're gonna pull that out and go ahead and get started. And I also wanna show you some new things that I bought from Harvest Right as well. Now, I got my freeze dryer from Harvest Right. There is a link down below. If you're interested in getting a freeze dryer, this is a great time. They do have a sale going on, and I'll put at the top when the sale ends, but I think it's $500 off. You can use my code below. And if you have any questions about freeze drying, again, I'm a newbie, but the first one I did, I loved, you know, with the mangoes, the strawberries, and the cranberries. And I imagine I'm gonna be using it a ton this summer. So you'll be on the journey with me. But if you have any questions, or if you have a freeze dryer and you have any tips or some things that I must try, make sure you put them down below. So let's go ahead and get our cilantro. We have quite a bit of it. Okay. And what I did was I just washed it and then I just wrapped it in a paper towel to kind of keep it fresh. You can kind of see there. So obviously you could have frozen it, but I'm like, I didn't want to have it frozen. So I just did it like this. You can see that bunch of cilantro. It smells so good. So I think I'm gonna de-stem this. Obviously you can put it in the freeze dryer just the way it is, but I'm thinking in the way that I'm gonna use it, it probably needs to be de-stemmed. So my idea for this, and I especially grew a lot of cilantro and planted it for this purpose, was to freeze dry it. I want to be able to have it for salsa, particularly when we make salsa this summer from our summer tomatoes. That is the main reason why I did it. Also, you know, the cilantro does not like heat. It's a cool weather crop, so it tends to bolt, especially in my area, right about now. By the end of May, the cilantro will be bolted and trying to, you know, leave the party. So that is why I did it in the spring, and I wanted to make sure that I did a whole bunch of it. I had it interplanted with my carrots, and I did a whole bunch of it for this purpose right here. So it smells so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and de-stem this. This is the part I don't like, but it's the part that we gotta do. So I'm gonna go ahead and de-stem this, and then we're gonna load up the trays and get ready to freeze dry. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I'm doing 2 different kinds of cilantro because that's what I grew. So, and already I think I'm gonna have plenty to do the whole 5 trays, because that little part that you just saw me doing there was enough to fill up 1 whole tray. And that was the smallest bag I had, and I have like 2 more big bags. But I wanted to show you, I have this type of cilantro. You can see that it looks very different than traditional cilantro, like these leaves here. Let me grab one. Like this is what traditional cilantro looks like when you normally grow it. This right here is row 7 from the company row 7, the seed company, and it's Delfino cilantro. So it's supposed to have like these little, they call them fronds. So it has a different growth, not growth habit. It grows the same, but it looks different than regular cilantro. It smells good, but it's not as strong as the, what I call the traditional cilantro, but it's supposed to have like a lemony, almost taste blended in with a cilantro taste. So I'm excited to see. I didn't separate. I'm just going to put it all together because why not? Why not? It was too much to try to separate them too. So I have this kind, the traditional kind, and I have this. I'm just de-stemming as best as I can. Again, I'm not too particular about it. If a stem ends up in there, no big deal. I can always take it out, you know. And I'm assuming I could grind up the freeze-dried cilantro and make powder and put that in salsa. But I want to see the stuff. I want to see the flakes in the salsa. That's what I want. So we're going to keep on de-stemming this and loading our trays up. Okay, so we have all the cilantro chopped up. I have enough for the 5 trays, and I even have 1 bag left that's going to go back in the refrigerator. So I would say we did pretty good and have a pretty good harvest. I wanted to show you this before I loaded up the last tray. On my first video, when I talked about the freeze dryer, I showed you I had bought these silicone mats to go on top of my freeze dryer. They looked like this. And I bought these off Amazon. And I told you I was going to try these because they were cheaper than buying the Harvest Right ones. But also in that video, remember we discovered that I only got 4 instead of 5 because we have the medium freeze dryer. It used to, for the longest, come with 4 trays. Now they have retrofitted it and they've added in space to add a 5th tray. So when you buy a medium Harvest Right freeze dryer now, it's going to come with 5 trays. So I don't know that Amazon or whoever sells them on Amazon has caught up because they're selling them in sets of 4. So I was short 1 silicone already and I had to use parchment paper. So I went ahead and just bit the bullet and bought the Harvest Right one because they're going to come in a set of 5. And I even like these better. Look, y'all. I like that better. Sometimes it just pays to spend the money and not try to get a cheaper alternative. But, you know, we tried. It's okay. And I'll keep those. I don't know what for. I can use them for the next set of trays. That's what I can do. Even though there's only going to be 4 instead of 5. But anyway, it was a much cheaper alternative. But I went ahead and just got these. And like I said, these look much better. And they fit perfectly, which those fit perfectly as well. I'm going to get me another set of trays. But when I made the order for the silicone mats, they were out of trays for the medium size. They've been out. I've been stocking it for like a month and they're still out. So whenever they come back in stock, then I'll get an extra set of trays. I've picked that up from other homesteaders saying that it's good to have 2 sets of trays. So that way you can have something freezing in the freezer while your freeze dryer is going. So instead of just having 1 set of trays, you're always going to have to wait, especially in the summertime. I expect there'll be a heavy rotation of me freeze drying. It'll be nice to have an extra set of trays. So hopefully they come back in stock soon and we can get that. But I also got this as well, which are the lids. These lids fit on top of the freeze dry tray. So that way, let's just say your extra set, let's say you have your freeze dryer full right now of mangoes, but then you also want to freeze dry, I don't know, bananas or something, and they're on your trays frozen in the refrigerator. Well, if you're like me, your freezer is full, right? So setting an empty open tray in your freezer is probably not the best idea because something's gonna get put on it and all that. Well, these lids cover, which I just love. Hold on a second. Look at that. That is so nice. First time using them. Well, I'm not gonna have to use them for this one because we didn't freeze the cilantro. Something about freezing the cilantro just felt weird to me. And I'm like, we're just going to go with it raw. That's what we're going to do. But these lids are perfect. So I got a set of 5 of these. So y'all, we're in business. I just need my second set of trays before the summertime. We got our silicone mats with the Harvest Right symbol. And we got our lids. Y'all, we're in business. We are in business. So I like that a whole lot. So this is our last, you can see we got all our trays loaded up. This is the last one right here that we're gonna do. I will tell you that the row 7 Delfino cilantro is much harder to destem than the regular cilantro. I think because it's just so fine. And you can see, y'all, this ain't perfect. Like, I still got a stem in here. But let me see if I can destem this a little bit. If you know a quicker way to destem, let me know. I mean, it didn't take long. It's just tedious. I have a herb stripper, but that thing is so small. And trying to fit all the cilantro in here, I felt like that would take too long. So I just did it with my hands. But you can see we have 5 trays of cilantro ready to go in the freeze dryer. So I've already initiated the freeze dryer. For the first 15 minutes, it has to cool. And so it's going through that process now. Once it finishes, we're gonna pop these into the freeze dryer. And I know it probably seems like it's a bright, sunshiny day, but it's actually really late at night. I was baking some bread and I miscalculated the time it was gonna take to bake the bread. So I'm having to stay up because I've already started this bread. So I'm like, well, let me go ahead and knock this out while I'm doing that. And that's what I'm doing. So we'll put this into the freeze dryer. It'll take, I'm sure, a good, 24 hours or less or close to it. So we'll check back in tomorrow and we'll let you see how the freeze dryer turns out, how long it took, and what it's looking like, what it smells like, and what it tastes like. So I'll see you back tomorrow. Okay guys, our cilantro is done. That only took 9 hours. So everything doesn't take 24 hours in the freeze dryer. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is the Delfina. You can see how green it is. You can probably hear that. Here is the regular kind. You can kind of tell the difference in the leaves, but you can hear it. It's completely dry. So I'm going to just take this and put it in like this airtight lid jar. One of the things I found is you definitely need to put something in an airtight lid. With an airtight lid, or put it in the Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, because when we did the mangoes, the strawberries, and the cranberries, I put them like in a regular mason jar with the lid. And remember, I got sick right after that with the flu. And I was eating them, but by, I think by day 2, because they didn't last long, I could tell that some of them were getting soft. And I think that's because the mason jar is not airtight lid enough. So I bought some of these jars from Amazon. I'll link them in my Amazon shop. And that way it'll be airtight. So I'm gonna keep filling these jars right quick. Now the manual did say that once your product is complete, to go ahead and get it packaged up right away so that the humidity or the air humidity doesn't put moisture back in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this and I'll come right back. Okay, y'all, I got it all jarred up. I ended up getting 2 jars, and I gotta go back and look at my link. I think these are 20 ounce jars or 28 ounce jars, but look, do you see how green that is? That is so green. I'm glad that I destemmed it. You still see I got a couple of stems in there, but it'll be just fine. So it's completely dry. The smell is amazing. Smells just like cilantro, like my hands smell like cilantro. And the color is so green. I cannot wait to use this in cilantro lime rice and salsa when we make it. Now, since I have the airtight lids, I wasn't for sure if I was supposed to put an oxygen absorber in the jar as well. I'm assuming so. But what I did was I put one in one jar. I'll use this one second. The one that doesn't have the oxygen absorber, I'll use this first. So if you have a freeze dry, let me know if you're supposed to put the oxygen absorber in if you're using an airtight lid. I would think so if you're going to use it in a Mylar bag. So I did it in that one. And again, this is how you learn, just experiment. So I figure maybe I'll use this before it goes bad. I don't think it'll go bad. I think in an airtight jar, it just probably won't, without the absorber, it probably won't last as long as with it. But I don't see that this is gonna be on my shelf for too long. But I'm excited about my cilantro. I wish you could smell this. Let me just. Oh my goodness. Y'all see how green that is? I'm so excited about my fresh freeze-dried cilantro from the garden. And I think, I mean, it's hard for me to say how plentiful this is, but I think this will be plenty to get us through until we can grow cilantro again in the fall, I think. I don't know, because I only use cilantro like when we make nachos. Like my husband, he doesn't like cilantro. Now, I put it in salsa and it's in there, he eats it. But if you ask him if he likes cilantro, he says no. But like when we make like nachos or tacos, I'll put it on mine, you know, fresh. I'll do cilantro lime rice. He eats that. And then of course I'll use it for salsa. But other than that, I don't use cilantro in anything else. There is a dip that I make, a jalapeno dip that I put cilantro in. So that'll come in handy. I guess my point I was making is if I don't have any more cilantro, which I do have some more in my garden, but it's probably short-lived. With the temperatures heating up, it is at the point of bolting. So I'll just keep harvesting that. And what I'll do is I'll harvest and then we can put it in the tray with the lid on, and maybe we'll freeze that and we'll see how it does frozen going into the freeze dryer and then the final product. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm excited. So this is my second time using my freeze dryer, but I promise you it's going to be on this summer. If you have some freeze drying tips, please put them down below. Things that you love to freeze dry or any tips and advice, please let me know. If you're interested in getting a freeze dryer, make sure that you look at the link in my bio. They do have a sale going on right now. And then also, if you're not aware, they do have a layaway plan. Now, you got to be of a certain age to know what layaway is. Layaway is when you put some money down and you make the payments over time. So I'll try to remember to link my video up here when I first got my freeze dryer, because I talked about that extensively. That was the way that I was able to get a freeze dryer. I literally just paid on it for like a year and a half. Just whenever I had extra money, whenever I made extra money, I would just send in a payment. So that's the beautiful thing. If you want a freeze dryer, but you don't have the upfront investment to make, because it's like $3,000, then you can put it on layaway. I think you only have to put $250 down. You can make payments whenever you want. There's no time frame. There's no minimum. There's no, you got to pay it every 6 months. Like, it is nothing. You do it when you want to. Like, literally, it is that easy. So for me, it took me like a year and a half to do it, but I don't feel like I actually shelled out $3,000 because I was really just using side money, extra money, you know, that type of thing. I guess there's no saying, yeah, when I say extra money, you mean like, okay, I did a job for somebody that was like not calculated into the budget. Okay, I got $50. Okay, I got 100. You know, let me put 100 on the freeze dryer, that type of thing. So it is possible, even though it may not feel affordable. So I would encourage you to check that out. If you have any questions, put them down below. Remember, gardening is a journey, and this is all part of it, y'all. So think about all the food that you're growing this summer. What you gonna do with it? What you don't eat, you need to preserve, right? So make sure that you have a method of preserving, and maybe we'll do a video on the 4 or 5 ways you can preserve food, because this is just one way. But you can freeze food, you can dehydrate, you can freeze dry, you can vacuum seal, you can ferment. There's at least 4 or 5 ways to preserve food, and you don't want to just do it one way. You want to have a variety. Canning. You want to have a variety of ways that you preserve your food so that you're not locked into one method. So on this channel, we've talked about dehydrating, we've talked about canning, now we're into freeze drying. Oh, and I've also done some freezing as well. So the only thing that I haven't done or don't do is the fermentation. Peace. I don't know that. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.